Okay. Okay, well, let's get going. Welcome, everybody. There's 15 of us here on the call, which is a good number. Some of you have not been here, and I welcome you all, and great gratitude for you to bring your energy signature here, because this is all about, it's not about me, it's about everybody here. And this is in part, we've got kind of a trinity going on here. So we've got obviously the 1111 portal. And then I put the light code and light language together as one. And then we have all of you guys in your signatures. So it's like a trinity of energy that we're creating here with this, and it's going to be amplified. Now, I don't know, is there anybody who has not experienced light language? Everybody has? Nice. All right, cool. So you all know, obviously, it's about feeling. It's not about interpretation, although people get their own interpretations at times and have stories to share, which we love and is fun. But in the light codes, actually, how about light codes? Does everybody know about light codes? Any questions on light codes or anything? All right, everybody's up to speed here. Yes, Catherine?
Just a brief definition, please. It's been a while since I've heard the term.
Okay, well, I mean, light codes are they're actually a form of light language. They are, they're tangible, so you can actually see them. So a lot of people, because we are physical and we use our five senses, so a lot of times seeing them is more effective for people to actually experience them. But they, just like light language, are identified through the heart space, because it's all about frequencies and vibrations. It's very similar to light language, but in a different form. Okay, all right. Okay, does anybody have any questions or anything? Cool. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so interesting. So the first two codes I'm going to share, I've actually got them on my website right now. And when they came through, I thought, well, okay, there's a series that are coming through here. I could feel that. So I had gone ahead and posted those, but then I added two more to them. So we'll experience a total of 4 light codes today. Now, some people, again, you may just see the image and not really see or feel anything specific, which is fine, because your heart knows. So no worries if anybody is bothered by that. Some are, but you guys are probably all up to speed on that. Okay, so the heart path, the path of the heart coming back to self. Boy, has this been a big one for me. A big experience, and that realness and that feeling. You can say it and it sounds simple, but it's very complex in where we are right now in this phase of our journey. And it's about expressing it now, coming back to self and what that really means. So today's date equals 9. Keystone 9 is another light code I'm going to show at the end. This is one I had done back in June of this year. So it's all connected. It's funny how I'm realizing these light codes. I think I've done about 80 of them now, but how they're all interconnected in some way. So that's kind of revealing itself. The light codes are also starting to reveal more to me in a way that's kind of 5th dimensional, which is very hard for me to explain. So I'll try a little bit on a few of these, but I don't want to make it too complex or linear. And just to try to feel it more. But I will ask you guys if you have any experience with it and just the feeling with it. Okay, this is the first one, and it's called Heart Trinity 888. This is the one that also, as soon as I did it, entitled it, I got the word coming back to self. So it's kind of a title as well. And with this one, it was, the coming back to self part of it was a lot about forgiveness, and the part that we don't even realize that we are holding something, guilt or shame or whatever, and we just need to forgive ourselves. So that's kind of the resurrection aspect of this as well, because we're resurrecting ourselves from all that was or all that we felt. But what I wanted to do, and if anybody wants to chime in, is kind of feel into it. And when I say coming back to self, I say like, okay, I'm coming back to self. What does that mean to me? And it is like, well, it means I'm powerful. I'm acknowledging that I'm powerful and I'm coming back to that. Or it means I am ancient, but yet I'm also new. So what does all coming back to self mean for you? I mean, it can mean that you're love. I mean, you're light, you're courageous. What does that mean for you guys? So if you guys have, you don't have to, but if you want to just chime into what that means for you coming back to self, that would be fantastic.
This is Catherine. I'm getting a sense it's a bridge to the known and the unknown from the beginning of time to now of ourselves, and that's there's a lot of unknowns, and the guilt and the shame, and that's been our programming,
right?
Yeah. So also there was an offering through Radiant Rose Academy recently about taking back our power, and it's a very simple thing to do, and I've been integrating that when I remember to do so. But and we've been introduced the concept of that we are the bridge to our higher selves and to the creator. And so by embracing that as best as we can in the moment, the eternal instant, then it can be a surprise. That's all I can say.
Okay, so like coming back to yourself for you means I am the bridge. I am the bridge. Yeah. Cool. All right. Excellent. Anybody else?
And not only for myself, for others as well.
Yes.
Well, I see this as very three-dimensional, and then expanding out.
Yes.
It just kind of keeps building and building. And my light language is like strongest in my hands at this point.
Nice.
So I can just feel the code language in it. It's beautiful. And it's really the time of remembrance has been so strong.
Yes.
And so that bridge, I think what Catherine's talking about, that bridge, the connecting of our remembrance of those times of the past to now, and really centering ourselves within that.
Yes.
And there's something really about believing, the dismissal of doubts and fears, and allowing that centering of self into the belief that what we're remembering is true and real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's beautiful. Beautiful. I'm so glad you mentioned that about the three-dimensional, because these are three-dimensional. It's so funny how we see the three-dimensional in their, dynamics, their digital dynamics, but we see them as a 2D as just being flat, but it's sacred geometry. So it is very three-dimensional in terms of how it's created and where it goes. It just expands out.
Mm-hmm. Which is more than three-dimensional, right? So it becomes three-dimensional, and then it ripples out and out and out. So it's
right. Exactly. Yeah. That's a great point. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm using my headphones for the first time as a microphone as well. So
good.
Nice to be with you all.
Thank you.
So a couple things came through. One is that we we come from source energy into the physical body, and that this is the like misconception. We come from spirit, we're in the physical body, and at some point we leave this body and go back to spirit. That's the like general, right, misconception. And but we know that they both coexist at the same time. So a return to self to me is returning to center, to kind of letting go or releasing all that is not inner being, source, self, like that expression of that. And then from a I love the way that you mentioned sacred geometry, because I work a lot with like sacred geometry and patterns, and in particular neural pathways, like having people reprogram neural pathways, and
Yeah.
those neural pathways are just the pattern. They're just like they've been going that way, right? But
Yeah.
when self is present and you're aware, that trigger is just doing what that trigger did, that somewhere got imprinted along the way when I was 5 and my mom said this and then I reacted this, and then it's like every time that circumstance comes up. So when self is present and you're aware of that, you can interrupt that pathway, and self can insert something else in that pathway.
Yeah.
So that was also what I heard of return to self, is like when self is present and is the observer, because the machinery can't be the observer, it's just machinery.
Yeah.
So that's also a return to self, is like that self is calling the shots or something, you know, like it's it's inserting in and infusing those pathways.
Yeah. Excellent. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Christy?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
So return to self, I'm just looking at the photo. And to me, it's about humanity returning to the interconnection with nature and the other kingdoms, and bringing that power back into ourself when we all harmonize together, and because those are pieces of us, right?
Yeah.
So I see like the magic coming out of the little shell thing, and that's wrapped inside of the leaves, and it's all supporting each other. And so to me, this is very like tribal, but also futuristic. And we're, as a humanity, we're going back to just finding that power in the connection and reuniting of all the kingdoms together. I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. That's beautiful. Yeah. The nature part of it is so, I mean, because we are nature, we're organic, right? So coming back to our organic selves. Yeah. So that's a part in here with the spiral. If you see the spiral of the snail, when I first saw this picture, I thought, oh my God, that is a light code. You know, the colors in it, and in the way it's placed. So everything about, and I didn't really mention that, but I find photographs, I'm actually drawn to photographs that I know will work with a light code. So they work synergistically together, and they create this. So it's the light code and the image itself. But the spiral of the actual snail, if you see where it is, it's really at the point, the 0 point of it, it's on the higher heart. So it's all about that point in our, you know, toroidal field. I mean, the higher heart. And the actual, it's like a crystalline angel. You know, you think about coming back to yourself, you are an angel. I mean, so you're coming back to that crystalline angel within yourself. And some people might see it even as Jesus, you know, even when he was on the cross, you know, resurrecting, he came back to himself. So yeah, that's good input, Isla. Anybody else? Okay. All right, we're going to move to the next one then. Oh, and the other thing I had mentioned, green was a big
Plug into nature.
Do what?
Okay, may I chime in just for a moment? This is
Uh-huh.
Catherine. So essentially, we are the plug. We are the plug into everything, into nature, into spirit, into our so-called past lives, and unfortunately, we're plugged into the programming as well. And so it's an opportunity to unplug with the icky stuff and to be whole. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okie dokie. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this one, it was interesting how this one came through because I have I looked at this book that I made notes in years ago, and I opened it up to this code that I did probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago. And the code was unconditional love, but it was my code. It was the code that I had created for this. And then I started to, okay, I thought, okay, this is part of this unconditional love because, coming back to self, this is all about the heart. And so I started to draw the code that I had drawn. And then I got the word Arcturian. And so it was like this co-creation of this code. It's like the Arcturians said, okay, we're going to upgrade it, maybe. I don't know what the right word is, but we're going to create it a little differently. So the basics are the same, what it was. But in place of, like, for instance, this guy right here, which is now a ripple effect. I had like a swirl there before. So there are definitely some similarities, and in the staff in the middle of it is very important for this whole, all these codes, the staff, which is, in my view, what I get is like the primordial mother, the source, God, it's the connection. I mean, it's the connection to source. And also some of the light codes that come through, they broadcast. There's a sense of being broadcasted, which you can see that here. It kind of looks Wi-Fi like, but I do get certain codes that I'm in, it's like, okay, this is a broadcast. So, so then it's incorporated into the code. So, and then of course the heart, the symbol of the heart, even though it's not part of the code, it's part of the image. So therefore it's part of the code. So is anybody have any thoughts or feelings or expression?
Wow.
Has such a pulse. It's just
Yeah, it's a broadcaster.
I'm sitting here feeling like I'm on a whirligig. Remember the whirligig with kids out in the parks? So I'm in this whirligig swirling around.
Broadcast, those Arcturians, I tell you what.
Yeah, and where's the ground? It's somewhere.
And and again, this is nature behind it. It's what Nyla, what you said, Nyla. It's like, this is part. I mean, this is our whole. Coming back to self is coming back to the wholeness of who we are and the authenticity of who we are. So nature is such a big part of that because we're, obviously part of the planet, and she's like, I always see her as our mother. So yeah. Anything else?
I have a feeling from the picture.
Yeah.
In the center, the two outside items, it's like a vibration that is coming into you from the left and the right.
Uh-huh.
And the lower part, the circles, that is like you were speaking out. You speak your energy out, or you blow your energy out. It's a coming in and a going out from you.
Uh-huh.
The love or the energy is coming in, and the vibration is coming out from you.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Like
like
kind of feeling.
the ripple effect. The ripple
Yes,
effect, kind of.
yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
unconditional love too. Send your love out.
Yes. 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 Cool. Cool. Anybody else? Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's, oh, sorry.
I'm getting ahead of myself there. Ah, sorry, I'm trying to close this here. Let's see, something's happened here. Go ahead, let's see if we can. I think it's my connection. Let's give it a minute here. Okay.
So my hands just started kind of going with this, and the three like ovals at the top. It's interesting, the shape and the like kind of trinity of it, and then where the like the intersection point of all of them that makes it this other oval, but it's not equal. Like there's something about that.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom part, there's not an oval. It's like this other this other thing. So it feels like it's like the upper realm, and it's kind of spread out, but then down is like this other signal or something. And so the circles on the like kind of the bottom right that are vibing out, to me is very much a spiral, and that's a lot of what I use in my work is like this. And the spiral can be like ramping up energy or ramping down energy. So
Yeah.
So it's interesting for that. Like just that's what I got from that. Was that it's like this that the energy of the whole thing and that bottom spiral on the bottom right, the engine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. It's funny you said spiral, because as I mentioned, my original code, that was a spiral in my original code. So when I heard, we're going to change it up, because I started to do mine and I just couldn't do it. It wasn't working. And it's like the two merged. It's like the two. So I'm going to show you if you can see it. Let's see. You see that? That was my original one. So it's like they merged. Spiral. Okay, cool. Anybody
cool.
else?
The whirling dervishes come to mind.
The what?
Whirling dervishes come to mind.
Oh, all right.
Because they spin in a spiral.
Uh-huh.
And bring in the. I'm in a place right now where it's kind of challenging to speak.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There's something about stability. It's like the bottom part looks like a base, like a tripod.
Yeah.
Having that secure base. So you've got the staff connected to source, but then there's the other two legs that kind of stabilize. I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but I think there's something of like being really secure in that grounding.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe it's grounding into the earth. Yeah, like an earth.
It's okay for it to split into, like that source connection is like direct, but then as it comes down from that, from the kind of the trinity of those three egg shapes,
right?
Then it splits into the ground. So maybe it's like the different ways that we connect in.
Yeah, it's probably some kind of fifth dimensional element, because the rippling, the way the rippling is, it's almost like it's widening. I mean, the rippling will keep going and going and going, but it's like it's widening the angle of the ripple as it goes out. Very good. Thank you, Jenna. Anybody else before we move on?
Yeah, this is Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I kind of heard it as like a sound frequency, but not in my ears. It was kind of interesting to distinguish. It was kind of between the ears, almost in the center of my head.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting, but that was kind of my feel or reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. You know, the other thing too, because I'm always relating a lot of things to the womb of creation, because that's the mother. I mean, that is the feminine principle, but we all have that. So I feel like this area is almost like womb of creation. So, okay. All right. Shall we move on to the next one? Okay, so this one really interesting when it came up, because I started drawing on it, and in these triangles, I was like, okay, so I'm just plopping some triangles here. It was sort of an interesting dynamic when it came through, and then it started like, oh, it started like talking to me and how it wanted to be formed. And this one I actually did research on, because I knew it had more meaning to it, and it's very fifth dimensional. And I don't know if I'm going to do it justice, but I'll try to give you a few things. So it led me to one thing I want to say. See the pentagram here? I actually didn't see that until after I looked at it for a minute. But the pentagram is like the male principle. And the female principle is like a 6-pointed star. But we are, you know, until we unite, until we have that unification, then we have the 6-pointed star. So we see the 6-pointed star also as the Merkaba, which is our light body. And that is an effect of our merger, our unification of the masculine and the feminine, because the principle of that unification is the female principle, which is the mother principle, that is the heart. So when I see the heart too, it's interesting because I saw a meme that just came through on it when I was doing research. And the heart itself, you know, we think of that as the heart in our chest, yeah, you know, that in love and all that. But so when you look at the two sides of the heart, that is like the feminine heart on one side and the masculine on the other. So it's like the two are sitting there together, you know, waiting for that unification. And this right here is like the Holy Spirit. The third one here is like the Holy Spirit going through it. And this, you know, like the Trinity here. And this is the staff. So again, we have a staff, which is that connection, because when we unite the feminine and the masculine together, you know, we have that connection to source, and it's through the staff. It's like the rod and staff. I don't know if some of you have heard that. Lisa Renee has some really interesting thing. I put in pentagon because I wanted to see what she had about it. And she has the whole thing that just made this come together for me. And she kind of speaks a different language, so it's kind of hard to interpret some of her stuff, but it made so much sense. And I won't do it justice by trying to explain it, but it made a lot of sense. But the other aspect of this is the universal charge. So this is the universal charge here, which goes through the Holy Spirit. So we've got 3 plus signs on here and 1 minus sign. And one other thing is that when I first saw this image, before I knew what it was going to be, I had just gotten this hit on fascia, you know, the fascia in our body. Yep. And which is what it looks like, the fascia. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, this makes sense. So, you know how the light body is coming forth now, or that's the unification when that light body comes forth. Well, you know, because we're uniting heaven with earth, which is, you know, the material side is the masculine and the spiritual side is the feminine. When we're uniting the two, then it's got to sit in our physical body somehow. So I heard a video that they were talking about the fascia is like the energy of our body. It carries the energy of our body. So I'm thinking, well, Well, that makes sense. Is the light body actually going to merge as in our physicality and our fascia? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. It had come through, but and my sister is a nurse said, yeah, the fascia, if you totally take it out of your body, it would just stand there. I mean, because it's so much of our body. So it made sense to me to be a light body integration. That is what holds the light body in a sense. And it may still be etheric in a way, but the relation of it being, physical, since we are uniting, heaven on earth. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Anybody want to comment?
Well, I'm having, because there's a practice that I tend to do, and it's essentially bringing in the pink flame, the divine love. And so it's not on the practice, but I also include the muscles, tendons, fascia, and connective tissue. So, and that's so this is an additional plug-in, is what I can say. So, and everybody has fascia, so I thought it's right now in this eternal instance that's how we connect and make changes. Is through with mankind, is through our fascia. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
I think Jenna was going to go, but I'll go. Why don't you go, Jenna, then I'll go.
Well, I'm so excited about the fascia idea. So I'm a body worker too, and I work in the fascia. That's how I spend my days. But the energy of spirit and the grid work, what that feels like to me is the same as fascia, and the patterns of working in like freeing up the fascia in the body and the patterns of twisting and not becoming gnarled is very similar to the energy work that I do on the other multi-dimensional energy work. It feels the same. And so yeah, this is just so fascinating. There's so many layers. The kind of snake-like part that's connecting on the rod or the staff. Makes me think of the Kundalini energy.
Right.
Flow.
Yep.
And there's something of like the circles make me think of the there's like gears and the way gears move, but more in a natural, organic way, like the way the heart flows and what has to flow through the heart. The blood that moves through the chambers of the heart, so too the energy has to flow through like the heart. The spirit has to have that flow. Boy, these all need like so much time to sit and just really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Well, they're it's like the wheels or something, right? The three circles or ripples or whatever, and they're almost like sort of a, what is it, like the electromagnetic field. It's like it's a connection to the electromagnetic field, the wheels of that, or the energy of that field. Maybe it has some representation to that. Okay, Jules, did you want to comment? Is she frozen?
One other thing,
Jenna was saying something else. So wait.
Just the one thing about the fascia, last thing, is that like related to the light body, the fascia is more conductive than nerves. So for the light body to take on, like, go through the fascia makes complete sense.
It's so, when I saw this, and I saw, because fascia had just come to me, it's like, okay, there's something saying something about our fascia that is not really, I haven't really heard that mentioned, but isn't it the fascia, is it made up a lot? I mean, I've seen like these string, it's like this, just like that, But is it water in there as well? Is in the fascia? Is there water pockets in there, or
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is in the fascia.
Yeah.
The fascia holds your nerves, your veins, your arteries, lymphatic system. It's extremely complex and very only recently being studied.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow.
Modern science. So
Yeah. Cool. Very interesting. Okay. Who's next?
So this is so fascinating, and especially all the conversation about the fascia. But my first reaction to this is that I know this. This is like familiar to me, right? And then it's like there's so much depth, like I could swim in it, you know. And that, but then it's also right here, you know. And as far as the like kind of web of it, so most of the energy work that I do, and I'm relatively new to it, I've only been really doing it this way in the last year, and in the last, like, probably since the beginning of August, and the 8/8 portal, and I know Jenna was sharing about some of the work we've been doing together. Like, we've been doing that work for the last, 3-4 months on an ongoing basis. So my gifts and ability to do this have expanded with velocity. So I basically infuse light into the pathways, into the grid. If it's in the physical body, like infusing light into the bloodstream or the kind of web of the physical body, and then that expands to the etheric body. And it is almost even with dealing with like AI energy, it's like it is it's inserting it into the web and then hitting that metaphysical send button, right? And like it just goes out. But what I love about this is it's always about love. Like, I actually posted on my page today, what have you learned about love this year? And it's like, love is our superpower. Love is all there is. And it is like everything starts there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever I do is like,
Yeah.
what's the highest resonance of love that I can reach for in this moment,
Right. Right.
So this piece so speaks to me. Like, I'm in love with it. I'm in love with this picture.
Right. Right.
Like, it's so everything. It's everything.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. Thank you for your comment. Yeah. And what are we coming back to? Self is coming back to love, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
So, may I chime in?
Uh-huh.
I was a Moody Blues fan, and I'm sure some of us were. And what came to my mind in relation to love and the fascia, and it's all about flow. And the song that I remember was first I was attracted to through the Moody Blues, In Search of a Lost Chord. Now this is like we're chording with each other, and also with these images and what they have to offer and to share us for our expansion. So the In Search of a Lost Chord, I don't quite remember that decade, but I do. It's just like everybody was out searching for something.
Mm-hmm.
The late 1960s, early 1970s. And so I'm feeling a lost chord. What is love? Love.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Christ consciousness, love. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Christy, I have been purposely silent for this whole time because I am so blown away by these masters that I'm sitting with, all of you. These people I have never met before, some of what they're saying is so right on, and I'm just taking it all in. I'm not necessarily always at a loss for words, but I'm a bit of a loss for words right now because I'm learning and taking in and receiving so much love and so much insight from all these beautiful masters here. I just want to say thank you. It's
Great. Well, thank you, Susan. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you for being
Mwah.
here.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else before we go to the next one? The last one.
Yes, I want to speak about what I see is the heart. And the three big dots, that is the threefold flame, that is sending out to the body, to the nerves, to the cells,
Mm-hmm.
and out of the body even. That's what I see in it.
Yeah.
If-
Yeah. Within and without, right?
yeah, it's what you really are.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So green or rainbow colors, big right now with the energy and what we're bringing here together here with your signatures, with the light codes, and with the colors and the light language that will eventually come here. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is the last one of the series. So to give you a bit about this one was interesting. This one I kept coming back to probably about 3 days. I did it and then I changed some things up and then I did some research. I was guided to do some research. And then I'd come back. So it was about 3 days of going back and forth. So what I got from it was it's a technology. So it is like integrating, because we are technology. So it's a part of our technology that, you know, if you look at it too, you see the toroidal field, you know, this is, you know, our 0 point here, toroidal field on each side here, how it circulates on both sides. And also the DNA is present in here. It's like data codes in the DNA. And this one is actually called a dielectric field of the heart, which is magnetism. And when you combine that, you know, it's the hybridization of that is electricity. So it's electromagnetic electricity. And there's a lot of imagery out there, you know, even looking at magnets under some kind of not a telescope, but an overlay that you can see these electric points where the energy, you know, creates that circular form. But what I got was it's technical and it is it's part of our makeup. It's part of our I don't want to say mechanics, but just part of our, I guess, electromagnetic energy that we carry. And it is helping us with that right now, upgrading. Any comments?
That would make a great tattoo.
It'd be hard to detail that one, I would think.
Jules mentioned Metatron, and I felt Metatron's energy as well.
Uh-huh.
In the chat, she mentioned Metatron.
Metatron, okay.
Geometric, kind of almost like mathematic, but filled with frequency, love, and light.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. So I agreed with Jules when she said Metatron. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is so is he or the
Metatron? Archangel Metatron is one of the masters
that
handles our geometry and our geometric.
So does the sacred geometry. Okay, well that may have been his influence then here. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And
Yeah.
Jules mentioned it. Thank you, Jules, for mentioning it.
Yeah, excellent. So it is the technology that we have within us. And when I do codes, because the way I do them, it's, you know, it's the simplistic version, you know, like Jenna mentioned, there is this 3D explosion of what is really all there. But this is really the simplified view of it, of what it would look like if we could actually see it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
This is just exceptional. Like I can't even, there's so much there. There's so much there. Yeah, so Metatron is a huge influence for me. In fact, I'm wearing my Metatron necklace. It is my protection. And it was through Metatron that I and I'm still in the like learning process, but learning to be in my Merkaba and in my light body. And but I love most of all that 0 point in the middle.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people talk about that. And that's like, you know, so that's something that I'm starting to, like, I call on Archangel Metatron in the work and that I do and that we do as a group, and the ultraviolet angels, and, you know, newly coming out of our mouth sometimes is inviting in the 0 point angels. And so that fascinated me. I'm like, oh yeah, what's that like in there? You know? So
Cool.
that's all. It's just an excitement about that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your work is exceptional. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
If no one else has anything to say.
Come on, bring it on, bring it on.
So I see this, at first it seemed like an insect face to me, kind of like a praying mantis.
Like a mantis, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And then like the way insects communicate, which is just beyond our knowing, right? The science can only, like, we're just scratching the surface of understanding how insects communicate and the complexity. And then I see really something very alien as well, that, and there's some similarity there. And then there's these antennas that come out from that center point. And it just seems like so much communication.
Yeah.
And then the eggs that are stacked, kind of like something of the chakras, or the going along the staff again.
Yeah.
But then I see your arrows flowing that down, which then creates so much flow.
Yeah. Right.
That like nuclear energy at the center.
Yeah.
It's just like the infinite potential.
Interesting. Wow.
And if that's within all of us, that visual of that connectedness, like we are one. Yeah, just really profound. So
cool. Thank you. Thank you. You know, also the cones. So here's a cone, 1 cone, 2 cones, which is a triangle basically. And that vortex of energy. And the thing you mentioned about the mantis, I hadn't really thought about that, but it looks like a mantis is looking at me right now, just by, you know. So I wonder if they have, you know, help with that technology of the human, you know, that this technology, maybe this is their mark or something. I mean, it could be, you never know, because, you know, we've got the influence and we've got DNA of so many different galactic beings. So maybe this has something to do with their technology. Interesting.
Well, may I chime in again? There's a pair of very interesting insects that I guess are native here. And they've been kind of crawling around here. They're enjoying the sunlight as I am. But so this is like plugging into their universe. Yeah, so they're sending me a message, and this is like the third part, because there was a pair of them. I thought there was only one. So they're very interesting shape. They somewhat resemble a cricket, but not so. Their back is flat and has designs on it, and these huge antennas. Huge. So there was some communication going on there that I didn't know about.
They're chiming in. They're getting the signals, maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Crickets bring good luck. Crickets bring good luck.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the last of the 4 series, but I was guided to bring one from back in June. And when we started, today is actually 9, the number 9 with 11/11/21. So the Infinite Heart was one that I did back in June, and it was Keystone 9 in Freeing the Dove, which is one of the things I commented on. This feels like freeing the dove. So when we have this unity, obviously, of the feminine and the masculine, and finding our way to this through, you know, coming back to ourselves and finding our way to this connection, that we actually free the dove, which in my view is we connect. I mean, we get that connection back and our light body ignites. So
So-
this that one.
I'm really excited right now, because essentially when I was introduced the keys of Enoch much earlier in my journey, there was this image, and it was a dove, and encompassed the wings and the body and the heart, and encompassed Canada, the US, and South and Central America. So there's this connection going on here with the dove, and that there was a phrase, I don't remember it all, darn it, but it was something about when the dove flaps its wings, and this is my speculation, that something will be released. And that's what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Resource.
Right,
you.
right. Yeah. Thank you. So this was done back in June, and I always kind of go back after I do light codes, and I sort of look at, okay, what's the connection with this? And then the Keystone 9. So the number 9 has been coming up a lot. Which is 9 is the ending or the beginning. You can look at it either way. But also, we have here still the vortices are here, the infinity, and the pentagon, which is in fact the pentagram, is inside of the pentagon, just like the Leonardo da Vinci, the Vitruvian Man, how he stands in here, with his arms spread out and his legs spread out, all connecting. And the number 5 was the man, or the male principle of our being, is the number 5. Any comments? Or the other thing is the architecture, because I'm very tuned into architecture. This was some cathedral. I'm not sure where it was. I think it might have been France. But the architecture of the past was so much a part of the electromagnetic energy and free energy and things that we had evolved to, but has been sort of, we've had these resets that have, blacked out all that information. But these amazing architecture is a part of who we are. I mean, we've created this architecture to communicate with our being, connecting us with Earth, because the way they were created, and the energy and the materials that was used on them. It's very interesting. I've been really diving into that. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Tartarian beings, Tartarian civilizations, but it's just fascinating stuff. So anyway, if anybody has any comment on this.
I will. I'm a sharer, so
Share. That's what we're here for.
So I was called to go grab my spirit animal oracle deck. So predominantly that's my main tool to communicate with source and with spirit, is our cards and decks. But now it's like there's a whole other arsenal. But so in the spirit animal oracle, I wanted to share about dove spirit. However disturbed the waters around you, however troubled your heart, dove spirit is there to remind you that peace without begins within, as you reconnect with spirit through practices that awaken you from spiritual amnesia. Your true nature is as a peaceful child of spirit, but how easily you forget. You're being invited to sit in the cozy, safe nest of spirit. Soon the waters will become still and you'll feel peace again. Be compassionate with yourself at this time, for all of us can forget that peace is always at hand, always there, gifted to us by spirit. Become the peace you wish to see in the world so you can reduce any suffering, performing acts of kindness and radiating love. Dove spirit also reminds you that when you see inequity or someone harmed or in need, trust that you have the capacity to bring peace through smiling, sending love, speaking a kind word, and listening with a compassionate heart. Do your part to be a peacemaker, nourishing compassion, reminding others of the joy of harmonious coexistence, so that they may embrace the dove spirit within themselves too. And there's more to it, but can I read the other part? It's brief.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So this is the oracle message. With her peaceful cooing, the gentle dove spirit invites you to embrace the energy of peace and allow compassion to warm your heart. You always have the power to generate peace within you, and the appearance of dove spirit is a reminder that today and every day is a good day to quiet any turbulence within as you embody tranquility. Above, below, and all around you, much may be happening to distract you, but you are called to engage it with the heart of a peacemaker, asking yourself, what would peace do? The peace you seek rises within and spreads out into the world as Spirit sends her messenger to remind you of the beauty of a harmonious existence with all that is. How beautiful and powerful is your compassionate heart. So, shoo!
Yeah, wow, that's all
Amazing.
yeah, that all connects for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else?
Say thanks to Jules for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Just kind of connected it all.
I just do how I'm guided. You're welcome.
Okay, all right. So I can feel my heart beating hard right now. So I can feel the energy really coming in. So we'll go into the light language now. Again, all of these, the energies and frequencies, vibrations of all of these light codes and what it is doing for us and what it is doing for humanity, what we are here to do. There is something, and maybe some of you may get information even after the light language transmission of what we're doing at this time and this now with this gathering of these specific people our energy signatures and the 1111 portal amplification, and then the light language and the light code. So exciting. I'm really excited right now. Okay. Okay, everybody just take some deep breaths here and just get ready to receive. Okay, I think I'm gonna go to, and if everybody would just put on mute, that would be good, just in case. Okay. Tajana mahayata ha. Tojana mahal la una ijda ata. Tijana ana una jita paka. Tu ija tapato na ija na ma la kuna ijita ha. Ha. Tu takain na 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 na. Tu ja ta 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 ta. Tai na maala ko uji tapakin na maay tapakuna jata 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 jata. Tu na maala ko uji di akin. Tu ta ashtakin na maha. Tija namal ku uti ija tapekan namahatahin namajo namahaya tapakun ija taya makun naita. Juta ay namakun nakaya shatahala ku uni jata pekun namaya ta 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 ta. Ija una ija 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 ujta. Una mahal kuni jataya 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 jata ujda 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 ujda. Tijana maala ku uta ijdi aha tu uda jana mahaya tabakun na ijuna aya na mahaya ta ujda dujata in makona yahayata jona mahayata ujda ijda in ma ijda. Ija akuna alaku ujde temekata khuna ijtapaha tijite ana mahuna ijto ahi ijta ina ana tijta tu iata alaku ujta ina mahata kuna ijta iata tu namaita uda ya hayata ujda aina makona. Ujadama lakuna ijtahana makona ijtahena mahata ata ujtahena ma aina ma una ajata ta ajata ahayna makona ijtahata hata ujta ata ujda ujda. Tajate ena makuna jita akana tu ujata alaku ijapakona he atapaku jiita akona aina alako ti ijapa tu namahata ujda ayatapakun tija namahayana tijana mahayana tahoja takana maku tija tapaha tije peha ona mahata ija nama Hutahin namaha tahin jita ana. Tu namaka. Tu ujite ah. Dus de aha anama u de ejta ah. Tu jeta ahin. Nama ayata aha. Tu uti ijata ha. Nama ayata. Ta'in. Tujda. Anemekun najata. Molly. Okay, if everybody would like to unmute.
I just noticed that you finished the light language at 1, 2, 3.
What? 1, 2, really?
At 1, 2, at my time in Santa Fe.
Ah,
1, 2, 3. Probably 12:23 in LA, but 1:23 here.
yeah. Interesting. Major heart palpitations. Very, very strong energy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Does anybody want to share any experiences or feelings or emotions or stories?
Well, I'll chime in again. Early on in the experience and the radiance of the energy, an image came to mind, and it was first it was like in the background a very faint pyramid, and then what came forward was an image of an individual, no gender, of the headdress, of the gold and black headdress that was worn by, I guess, by the priests. And so that was unusual. And then I was prompted to do this, and that is a yoga asana posture, and I don't know why, and then to switch it the other way, and I guess that helped to anchor the light language. That's my bit. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, when I heard you say that, I heard Isis.
Ah, Isis.
Isis, yeah.
While I was living in Seattle, there was a woman I knew, and she took on that name, and she was pretty interesting at the time. She was one of us weird ones, but I wasn't quite there yet. So,
Right. Anybody else?
Christy, I'll share.
Yes, please.
It was immediately like a magnetic energy. Literally, my daughter came into the room, then my son, my dog. It was ridiculous. And obviously, I just had to allow that to be what it was. But that gave me insight into what was happening. This was like a energetic surgery. I felt like we were all being tuned and upgraded, and forever altered from this moment on,
Yeah.
in order that we transmit outward to everyone else. And all of the codes that you showed came back during the session, and all the beings that were mentioned were part of this process. I think we mentioned the Acturians, the Mantis Beings, Metatron. They were all assisting, and it was almost like with the codes that you showed us, they were preparing us for what was about to happen. And these were all of the sequence of what was about to take place. And I felt like something in me was altered, and within all of us. And not only that, but we individually we're all connecting physically, creating a light code on the earth. And I would love to see what that would look like if it was possible.
Yeah.
Like what shape we are creating right now, connecting to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So it was really big.
Wow.
It was really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That all makes so much sense. Wow. Very cool.
Well, just a moment in reflection to what you were calling the snail shell. That spiral is a Fibonacci spiral. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Right.
Something that just keeps coming back, that last image that we saw with the dove. So I mean, that was just so powerful, all of that light language that you were just doing. And that dove, though, that image felt like it was all about expansion. So it's so important that you brought that in at the end, because that really set like this experience that we just all had together was expanding. And what really comes is that it's expanding on all the levels. One of the things that leapt out is the mythology and the story that has kept us so limited and small for so long. The story of Icarus just was leaping out at me from the dove, like that the wings and the fire and the roof that limited, but that dove is like pushing up with this fire against the roof to break open.
Yeah.
And the story of the past, the old story that was told in the Greek mythology of Icarus, was to be afraid of going too high, that you'll get burned and you'll melt and you'll fall to your end.
Wow.
And there's something now of this time, and that we're part of, is this changing and expanding in what's possible, and believing that we are capable of going for this infinite that we've always been taught to fear.
Yeah.
And there's something of like the crumbling down of the walls and the ceilings that will fall and everything that will break. It is necessary, important, and it will happen in its way. And we will be capable of surviving it because we are transforming in all of this.
Wow. That is so fantastic. I mean, when you said about that dove, because I hesitated to put that last slide in.
Really
and
important.
even before I went to it, I even checked with my pendulum to see if I needed to show that. And it was Keystone 9. It was the number on it. And it was freeing the dove. And so that's all that we stuffed, you know, all these experiences, because that's all coming up for me this week, especially, is that when we were burned at the stake, or, all these things that, really depressed our light and who we truly were. I mean, we're releasing all that. I mean, this is like now time. This is go time. I mean, this is actually happening. And the technology, that last light code was the technology, that Mantis technology or whatever, that is being awakened in our beings right now. It's being awakened, or activated. So yeah, that's amazing what you said. That I love it when the puzzle pieces fit together. So cool. Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else? Yes, Jules.
I've got something to say.
Go for it.
So, there was again so much in that, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm so grateful to Sandy, who shared Shauna's message of your message about this today. There's no coincidence why we're all here.
That's right.
And so first of all, there was you were doing the light language, and then there was you hit this kind of low note, like this bass kind of, and it was like my body started swirling at the hips, like it was very from the roots, but I'm seated, so I don't know what it would be like if I was standing, but it was like it was this momentum that was my whole body. And then you hit a higher note, like it was this woo, it was high, and it totally resonated with me. So I've started using tuning forks, and that's part of how I work with people is like frequency and vibration. And so for the beginning part of it, I had this tuning fork, which is the sun, which is, to me, just represents light, and it's kind of my go-to for anything. Like I'm like, we'll just send light frequency to it.
Yeah.
And so, but I was doing it in different parts of my body, which was kind of weird. Like I was
guided. You were guided to do that.
Yeah. To different parts of my body, and I've done that before, but it was like where in my body I was guided to do it was very interesting. And then I was just kind of right here. It was like so my whole body became like this Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
My whole body was that vibration. And then when you hit that high one, I picked up this one, which I've been using a lot. And this is so I don't know what frequency these are. They're not, it doesn't say on them. They're more, it's like sun and moon. So it's a little different. But the frequency that was coming out of your mouth is this frequency. And I use it for like cleansing and clearing. And so I was like, oh, yes, yeah, well, where do I do this, right? So again, so I ended up just putting it in my heart and having it vibrate. And then I started, so light language for me has been mostly in my hands. Lately, it's been coming out of my mouth. And yesterday I had a turning point of like my ability to speak light language is like, it's on, and I was having a conversation with you.
Were you? Well, that's good.
Totally. I was having a full on light language conversation with you. And I was like, oh, so maybe we know each other. I don't know. Like, it was amazing. So I was having, like, I was affirming what you were saying, and then I was like adding to it, and we were talking. We were talking.
Cool.
So, exceptional. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I've never done that before.
Well, we're going to be doing a lot of things we've never done before.
Right.
Yeah. Excellent.
So it was showing me that that's something now that it's available to me, is I can have conversation in light language.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
That was an awesome share. I think we're going back, or we're realizing our Lemurian roots, and so we're all reconnecting and communicating in the ancient ways that we used to. And the fact that Jules just mentioned that she's communicating to you in that light language shows me that we were all there together at that time, and we're all reconnecting to share that. And it's just amazing, just beautiful.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
Yes, for sure. Great. Anybody else? Does
Well,
anybody-
when you first started doing the light language, I just
Yeah.
felt this like this quickening in my around my heart, and then I
Mm.
felt this in my body, this vibration. So that's everything. It was just beautiful. So thank you, Christy.
Wow, that's amazing. So that was the technology. So the technology is activated. So that's
Mhm.
amazing. That's so cool. You felt it.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. That's so cool. Isn't this fun? So fun.
Yeah, celebration.
Yeah.
I have a side note.
Yeah.
You should sell prints of your codes. I would totally have one of those like in my living room. Can you imagine just getting like activated all the time? Wouldn't that be awesome?
It's interesting you said that. I have made some of them. I've made cards like these postcards out of some of the codes, and I have this vision with the codes of at some point, sometime, I see them all in this huge, like I'm just going to say museum or airplane hangar where they're digitally shown, like on these big canvases, like they're going to be projected, and then people walk through it, and there's going to be sound and music in the background, and it's like I don't know if it's a technology or a way for people to just raise their frequencies or I'm not really sure, but I've had that vision for a while to see something like that. But I will probably make more prints of them, and I've so far just made the like postcard size I've had, and I love doing it. It's a lot of
Well,
fun. So.
until that etheric museum is generated, I agree with Nyla. You should go ahead and print them out, because yes, we will probably see that in an etheric museum or
Yeah.
or overlay ethereally for sure. Maybe not even so far in the future, but until
Yeah.
then, those that are still in 3D moving to 4 and 5D might want to see them, because it does actually trigger something in them.
Yeah, definitely.
A memory. Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely memory triggers.
Yeah, and I see a portal that we could actually walk through. And also, even if they're postcard size, I would put them under my bed and on my ceiling above my bed. Transmissions.
Yeah. I've got some up in my room actually right now, like right on the wall I face when I'm sleeping. Cool. Sylvia?
Yeah, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to. I was with clients. I was seeing the images when you first were starting to work with them, and they were just so full of light. I just loved staring at them. And I felt even before I got on the call, like it was heart chakra. I could feel it so deep. And then when I saw it was heart path, it was like, oh, okay, so that's what we're doing. So that was awesome. It's like clearing that for the collective. During the actual, I think we were probably doing the light codes, I was talking to clients, but I felt so floaty, super floaty. And I was like, what's happening? And then I realized I'm like, oh, I still have you guys on the call. The energy's still coming through.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, super cool, right? Thank you, Christy, for what you do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you guys. I mean, you're all part of this. I mean, you were the ones that were supposed to join me. I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm so just amazed at that. I mean, a lot of you I haven't met, and some I've known for quite some time, and it's just amazing how we're coming together. The tribes are coming together, and we're doing our work. That's what we came here to do. All right. Anybody else?
I just wanted to jump in and say that I could see those images being an oracle deck.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm called to do for myself, but it's so that they're make it be a bigger deck, so that the images could be put somewhere, but that also your artwork would be accessible in a way, or the the technology and the messages and the energy of those could be a wider spread with something like a deck that could get in homes that you wouldn't even wouldn't
Yeah.
ordinarily purchase a piece of art, but they would purchase a deck, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah.
funny you mentioned I was on a call with my friend from Australia last night, and that's what she said. She said, have you thought about putting those in a deck? So
Here I have people who can print them.
yeah, right. You never know. Yeah, I think they're eventually going to end up somewhere for sure. But in the meantime, I do have a website. So if you guys, I think you all have that. Yeah, certainly tune in. And I wish I had on my website, which I haven't done, is where, you can get updates when I do update it. But I don't have that yet. So, but that's where I post my light codes as there. And this is actually going to go on my YouTube channel. So everybody will, can listen to it again if you want. So, okay. Anybody else? Okay, guys, I am so grateful for all of you for joining and for being a part of this with your amazing energy signatures. Thank you so much. Love you all. And I think I probably will be doing something next month as well. So you're all invited. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing it
Christy.
again,
That was
Christy. It was
beautiful,
wonderful, just
Christy.
amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you, Christy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Love you. We love you,
Love,
Christy.
love, love, love. That's all there is.
Much love.
Happy 11/11.
Yes.
Happy 11/11.